grandmas. People were posting their wins on Snapchat and Instagram, and it was so popular the news targeted Fortnite a lot, especially when it came to Fortnite addiction. News reported that parents could not get their kids off the game, and it was making the kids go brain dead, and it was Epic's fault that their game was way too addicting. Obviously, video game addiction can definitely be a thing and reduce your productivity. At the end of the day, if you achieve a balance, you can play games and not have it affect your real life. When Chapter 2 started, we were introduced to a huge new map, fishing, new guns, upgrade stations, the ability to pick up knocked enemies and teammates. It was a lot of fun until they kind of stopped doing updates. But one thing that slipped under the radar was the introduction of bots. Chapter 2 brought in the fake AI players that we see today running around. Some people didn't mind the extra kills, but others felt weird that there was players that weren't real in a battle royale. Why did Epic implement it? The average win rate of a Fortnite player is actually 1% in solos. It makes sense. There's 100 players and only one of them can win. Fortnite noticed that players don't like to lose 50, 80, 100, 200, 500 games in a row, and that was very common in Chapter 1. You'd find people with almost 1,000 games and 0 victory royales. The other aspect of it was that it would help with matchmaking to be a little bit faster. Here's the thing, this was working a little too well. One of my community members actually figured out a way to figure out how many fake players there are in your game, and the results were pretty shocking. Some games
Dr. Doom is unbeatable.
I had no problem with him. What team are you?
games only had 20 real players, 16 real players. I've seen cases of 90 fake players. We made a video about it, and eventually Epic made some changes to the skill-based matchmaking so that there was more real players and less bots running around. And now we have a pretty healthy balance where during prime time, most of the players you're going to encounter are real players, but not as much as you did back in the day. Next up, we have the controversy around Epic adding pay-to-win skins. This is a bit extreme, but some cosmetics have granted players small advantages and needed to be changed for them to be fair. The first ever skin that was labeled as pay to win, the Plastic Patroller, is honestly a pretty dope skin, and it looked like a toy soldier, but Fortnite meme players found it perfect to hide in bushes and trees. In certain spots, the color of the skin would basically just blend completely, and you'd pretty much be invisible and get some free kills. There was a ton of pushback to this from players saying Epic needed to visually change the skin, and eventually Epic also released the superhero skins, and these immediately caught on because you could color them however you wanted to. These skins were pretty much invisible in shadows, invisible in trees and water, and Epic actually ended up changing both the superhero skins and the Plastic Patroller skins and offered people a refund and made them visually stand out a little bit more. A lot of new players might not know about this item because it was an OG item that's probably never coming back, but the boombox was a big controversy. The item was a stereo that sent shockwave sounds and destroyed all the builds around it constantly. The controversy, though, was the fact that it was introduced the day of a Fortnite tournament, so pros had no time to adapt or adjust their strategies, and it caused for some insane endgame scenarios where players were just unable to build, and basically it was like zero build in the last circle with a bunch of players just shooting at each other. Thankfully, it eventually got removed, and it has never come back since. Another item that was very broken and had the community up in arms was mounted turrets. When this got introduced, people had never seen anything like this. Turret hit for 40 body shot, 80 headshot. It was extremely accurate, and the thing was, when they introduced it, if the player was facing you with the turret, you literally could not shoot them. There was like a face guard, so the player was immune from getting shot in the direction that he was aiming at. Nowadays, you can snipe them off of the turret and actually shoot back, and we see that with the mounted turret on the battle bus. Thankfully, Epic decided to balance this item, but it was one of the biggest controversies in early Chapter 1. This one was back last year with Chapter 2 Season 6. Epic had just removed the ability for pros to wager in Fortnite, which means bet money in a 1v1 or 2v2 setting. They also dropped Season 6, which had the pro community pretty upset. The loot pool was really weird. We had makeshift shotguns and crafting, and the very broken primal shotgun with a lot of POIs that weren't that memorable or great to play and build in. Pros had enough, and they started to do hashtag Rip Fortnite on social media, and it was actually trending on Twitter, but it didn't last long. Creators and community figures started a reverse hashtag Thank You Epic Games, letting developers know how much they appreciated them and how much Fortnite has changed their lives. If this is a video about Fortnite controversies and hashtags, we have to talk about the hashtag Remove the Mech movement. In Season X, mechs were introduced into the game, and these things were just demigods of destruction. They had a built-in really accurate and damaging shotgun. They could stomp players. They could jump up into the sky and move around and dash, but they also had 10 rockets that they could shoot and reload at you over and over. It was so easy to get wins with this that TimTheTatman did a challenge where he won a game with a mech with his monitor turned off. It was really bad, and there were some counters back in the day like Boogie Bombs, Shockwaves, Rift-to-Goes, but they were so powerful that those counters really didn't do much. Players and creators were spamming hashtag remove the mech, and it trended #1 worldwide on socials. Epic did respond in a blog post, but their response wasn't that well received. They pretty much said, we want to give players the ability to win games even if they're not good, and their solution was the mech, and it stayed in the game pretty much until the end of Season X. In Chapter 1, the most famous person on the internet was pretty much Ninja, the face of Fortnite, a rising star, the biggest streamer in the world, and there was some sort of controversy around him pretty much every few months. When you're the #1 guy, you kind of have a target on your back, and people are going to nitpick very aggressively. So Ninja was doing some After Dark squads with the boys. In the one game, Ninja gets lasered by a guy named IC5. The player was showing off his 90s and hits a dance after killing Ninja. Ninja's squad calls him out for stream sniping, and Ninja ends up reporting him for stream sniping, saying that he has to back out of the game or that he'll call Epic and get his account permanently banned. Streamers do not have those type of privileges. We cannot get anyone banned. All we can do is report someone, and Epic will look into it. Now, what happened is Mr. IC5 actually saw this as an opportunity, making a video on this incident, claiming his innocence, saying he felt it was unfair his account was going to be banned. Twitter saw this as an opportunity to attack Ninja, and they did. There were so many Reddit posts and tweets about the situation. Eventually, it was discovered that IC5 got banned for unrelated reasons to the stream snipe incident. Reddit users found his YouTube channel where he posted clips and videos of him stream sniping Ninja and Dr. Lupo. So the most hate that Ninja has ever gotten in his career happened from someone telling a blatant lie and trying to rally people against someone that he, stream sniped. The Summer Skirmish. And it started off with a bit of a scandal. In week 2, the format was get as many eliminations as possible in 10 random pub matches. Every player had to dominate and pop off, get a bunch of eliminations, and there were some really big scores being put up on the board. Look at this leaderboard right here. We got people like Tfue, FaZe Cloak, Nick Mercs, NRG Zate, Typical Gamer, Vivid, Liquid Chap, Poach, Ninja, Reverse, Symphony, Daquan. These are all OG players. But at the top of the leaderboard, we have a player named I Drop Bodies. Do you know what the prize pool was for this tournament? Most kills got $110,000. He had qualified for this tournament by playing well in the solo showdown, but how could he beat out all these players? That's exactly what the community was asking, and they were looking for answers. Rumors started floating around that he was a PS4 player, playing with a keyboard and mouse, playing against easier console players. There was another rumor he was getting people to feed him kills. Epic put out a statement that they looked into it and didn't find any evidence of him cheating, and he didn't really make a statement, and there wasn't really much information after that. And then this guy just basically disappeared, never to be seen again in the Fortnite tournaments, but he's active here and there on Twitter. This event remains one of the biggest mysteries. Did this guy really have the performance of a lifetime, or was there more going on that we'll never know? By far, one of the biggest controversies in Fortnite is actually aim assist, which has lasted 5 years, of course. Controller aim assist is a hot topic in debate that players talk about all the time. When Fortnite first dropped, control players were pretty bad. They didn't have a lot of the mechanics they have now. Eventually, players like Nick Mercs and Aiden started popping off and kind of putting controller on the map for a lot of players, followed by players like FaZe Sway kind of claiming the title of best builder in the world on controller, which back then was kind of unheard of. But when Chapter 1 transitioned to Chapter 2, the skill gap was at the highest it has ever been, and players like Unknown Army and a bunch of other controller players started really dominating in the FNCS. It was even compared to aimbot, and when you look back at some of those old Chapter 2 aim assist clips, it pretty much provided you aimbot. Nowadays, it's a little bit more balanced, and we've kind of come a long way with all the different aim assist settings. If anything, I feel like mouse and keyboard right now has a slight advantage over controller. All of these controversies had a big impact on the Fortnite community. Check out this video right here where I went over times the community made Fortnite updates.
Nutrigrain